but I'm a person, and I feel like, people will like you for who you are if you are true to yourself. And
Here's something that happened yesterday that's got everyone talking. A young tennis player just turned down $10 million in 5 seconds, and honestly what she did instead will give you chills. You know that feeling when you're being authentic and people just connect with that energy? Well, Alexandra Issa from the Philippines was living that exact moment when everything changed. She just demolished her opponent on the court playing like her life depended on it. The crowd was going wild. She was catching her breath, probably thinking about getting some ice on those sore muscles. Then something happened that nobody saw coming. The entire stadium went dead silent as this figure walked onto the court. Not just any figure, Sheikh called Al Rashid, worth about $50 billion. This guy owns private islands and probably half the buildings you see in major cities. The Sheikh grabbed the microphone and his voice echoed through the arena. He wasn't there for publicity or some sponsorship deal. His daughter Aisha had been going through some serious health challenges, and the one thing that kept her spirits up was watching Ella play tennis. The girl was obsessed with Ella's fighting spirit, her refusal to give up no matter what. So picture this. You're holding your tennis racket, still sweaty from the biggest match of your career, and suddenly there's a billionaire offering you $10 million for that piece of equipment in your hands. $10 million for something that probably cost $300 originally. The sheikh explained that his daughter was up in the VIP box, and all she wanted for her birthday was to hold something that represented that never give up magic she saw in Ella's game. Most dads would grab an autograph or buy a jersey from the gift shop. But when you've got unlimited money, you think differently about what's possible. Every camera in the place zoomed in on Ella's face. You could see her processing this insane situation. 5 seconds passed. And let me tell you, those were the longest 5 seconds in tennis history. Everyone was holding their breath, wondering what she'd do. But Issa looked up at that VIP box where the Sheikh's daughter was watching, pressed against the glass with hope in her eyes. Then she walked to the microphone with this calm energy that gave me goosebumps. What she said next stopped the world. She told the Sheikh that his daughter's love for tennis was worth more than any dollar amount. That inspiration shouldn't be bought. It should be shared freely. Then she did something incredible. She called for Aisha to come down from the VIP section. Security didn't know what to do, but they helped the girl down to court level. Issa got down on one knee. So she was eye to eye with this young woman who'd been battling health problems. She placed that racket directly into Aisha's hands and said it was hers to keep completely free. The only condition was that Aisha had to promise to keep fighting just like Ella does every single day. This billionaire's daughter, who could literally buy anything in the world, completely broke down crying. She hugged Eila like her life depended on it, sobbing into her shoulder while the entire stadium erupted. Even the sheikh was wiping tears from his eyes. Here's a man who controls massive business empires, who's used to getting whatever he wants whenever he wants it, completely humbled by watching his daughter receive something money couldn't actually purchase. The standing ovation lasted almost 10 minutes. People weren't just clapping, they were emotional because they'd witnessed something pure in a world that usually puts a price tag on everything. Think about what just happened here. We're living in times where everything feels like it's for sale, where athletes switch teams for bigger paychecks, where loyalty goes to the highest bidder. Then along comes this young woman from the Philippines who redefines what value actually means. By refusing that $10 million, she made that racket absolutely priceless. If she'd taken the money, it would have just been an expensive souvenir sitting in someone's private collection. Instead, she turned it into something sacred, a physical representation of the connection between an athlete and someone who believes in them. The message this sent to Aisha was powerful beyond words. Instead of learning that daddy's money can buy anything, she learned that her hero actually sees her, values her spirit, and believes in her potential. Not because of her family's wealth, but because of her own passion for the game. Social media completely exploded. People are calling it the billion-dollar rejection. The hashtags are trending worldwide, and even financial experts are joking that Eila just made the worst business decision in history but the best character decision of her lifetime. Except here's the thing. Was it really bad business? Think about what just happened to Ila's brand value. You literally cannot buy the kind of global recognition she just earned. Her integrity became her most valuable asset in about 30 seconds. Companies don't just want winners anymore. They want athletes who represent something meaningful. Yesterday, Issa became the global symbol of choosing heart over money. And that's marketing gold that no advertising budget could ever create. But this story goes way deeper when you understand where Eila came from. She grew up in the Philippines fighting for every opportunity. While other players had world-class facilities and unlimited coaching, she had to scrape together funding just to train at the Rafa Natal Academy in Spain. She's been carrying the hopes of her entire country, dealing with injuries and financial pressure while climbing the rankings through pure determination. Just weeks ago, she scored a massive upset against a top 20 player, announcing to the tennis world that she's not just a prospect, she's a genuine threat. Kids across Manila stay up late to watch her matches. Viewing parties happen in communities that barely have tennis courts. She's not just playing for prize money. She's playing for an entire generation of Filipino athletes who see her success as proof that their dreams are possible too. Understanding this background makes her decision even more incredible. For someone who knows exactly what financial struggle feels like, who's watched her family sacrifice to support her tennis dreams, turning down $10 million isn't just generous, it's revolutionary. Word is getting out that the sheikh was so moved by the gesture that he's planning to donate that same $10 million to youth sports development in the Philippines, specifically in Eala's honor. While this hasn't been officially confirmed yet, sources close to both families say he was profoundly affected by her compassion. The foundation would apparently focus on building tennis facilities in underserved communities, providing equipment and coaching to kids who'd never otherwise access the sport. If this happens, Isa's 5-second decision will create a legacy worth infinitely more than any personal bank account. Instead of one person getting richer, thousands of children will get opportunities. Instead of one racket sitting in a mansion somewhere, entire tennis courts will be constructed. That's how generosity multiplies. That's the kind of math that transforms entire nations. The Philippine Tennis Association has reportedly reached out to discuss potential partnerships. Former Filipino tennis players are volunteering their time and expertise if the foundation becomes reality. Tennis coaches across the country are buzzing with excitement about the possibilities. Meanwhile, Aisha was seen leaving the stadium clutching that racket like it contained actual magic. Security offered to carry it for her, but she refused. Witnesses say she held it against her chest the entire ride home, occasionally looking down at it with pure wonder. That piece of equipment with its worn grip and frayed strings is now probably the most valuable tennis memorabilia in the Middle East, precisely because it couldn't be purchased. It represents genuine human connection, the acknowledgement from a hero that she matters not because of her father's billions, but because of who she is as a person. The sheikh himself has been unusually quiet on social media since this happened, but people close to the family say the experience changed him. Here's someone who navigates billion-dollar deals daily, who's accustomed to solving problems by writing bigger checks, who rarely encounters anything money can't handle. For possibly the first time in decades, he discovered something completely outside the marketplace. Instead of being frustrated or offended, he was humbled. He got reminded that life's most precious gifts, love, inspiration, hope, human dignity, exist beyond any economic system. As for Eala, she walked off that court exactly the same way she walked on, humble, focused, ready for whatever comes next. When reporters swarmed her afterwards, shoving microphones in her face and demanding explanations, she just shrugged and said, "Some things are purely matters of the heart." She refused to turn the moment into some publicity campaign. No Instagram announcement, no management team crafting press releases. She simply acted from instinct, from values that were planted in her long before she ever held a professional tennis racket. Her social media following has exploded since then. Over 2 million new followers across platforms, with people from countries that don't even have professional tennis tours sending messages of support. Major brands are lining up to partner with her, not because she won a tournament, but because she displayed the kind of character that marketers dream about. The tennis community has rallied around her, too. Players from rising stars to Grand Slam champions have posted tributes. Former world number ones who usually avoid social media have broken their silence to applaud her decision. The WTA issued an official statement praising Eala for embodying the sportsmanship and compassion values they hope to represent. There's talk of giving her special humanitarian recognition at the end of the season. The tournament where this occurred has become the most discussed event of the year, not because of the tennis quality, but because of what happened after match point. Tournament organizers are planning to commemorate the moment permanently. They're discussing installing a plaque on that exact court spot where Isa handed over the racket, marking it as a historic site. The stadium might even get renamed in honor of the gesture. Local artists have proposed creating a statue capturing that embrace between Eala and Aisha, the racket between them symbolizing the bridge between athlete and admirer. Other players in the tournament have expressed admiration, though some privately admit they're not sure they would have made the same choice. That honesty is refreshing. Not everyone processes situations the way Eala does, and that's perfectly fine. What matters is that her example exists now, that it's out there as proof we always have choices in how we respond, even when millions of dollars are involved. The racket manufacturing company has found themselves in an interesting spotlight too. They've been careful not to over-commercialize the moment. Instead, announcing donations of equipment to youth programs in the Philippines, a gesture that aligns with Eala's spirit without exploiting it. Behavioral scientists are fascinated by Eala's split-second decision-making process. In those 5 seconds, what was happening in her mind? Most people, when offered life-changing money, experience what psychologists call cognitive override. Rational thinking battles emotional impulse. But Eala seemed to bypass both completely. She didn't agonize or deliberate. She simply knew that kind of moral clarity is incredibly rare, and suggests someone who has internalized their values so deeply that doing the right thing becomes automatic. This story highlights something fascinating about wealth and happiness too. Sheikh Khaled has everything money can buy. Yet the one thing his daughter wanted most was completely outside his purchasing power. It took a generous gesture from someone with comparatively little wealth to give his daughter what she truly needed. That irony isn't lost on anyone. The things we treasure most, love, recognition, connection, belonging, exist outside economic systems entirely. They cannot be bought, sold, or traded. They can only be given freely, which is exactly what makes them valuable. What's next for Alexandra Eala? If this past week indicates anything, she's going to be just fine. Her ranking will climb as she racks up victories. Sponsorship deals will pour in from brands wanting to associate with her integrity. But more importantly, she secured something far more precious than prize money, a legacy. Long after she retires, long after specific wins and losses fade from memory, this story will endure. It'll be told in tennis clubs and living rooms worldwide. It'll be written about in sports history books. It'll inspire future generations of athletes to remember that their influence extends far beyond any court. As for Eala, hopefully this experience ignites a fire in her that never burns out. Maybe she'll pick up a racket herself and discover her own love for tennis. Maybe she'll pursue completely different dreams, carrying with her the lesson that true value lies not in what we own, but in how we connect with others. Maybe years from now, when she faces her own choice between personal gain and human compassion, she'll remember the day Alexandra Eala knelt before her and chose kindness over cash. This reminds us why we actually watch sports. Sure, we come for the incredible shots and athletic performances, but we stay for the humanity. We stay for moments when the barrier between superstar and fan completely dissolves. We stay for instances when athletes remind us they're human beings first, entertainers second. We stay because occasionally something happens that transcends the game entirely, something that reminds us of our better angels, something that makes us believe in goodness again. She tried to purchase a moment. Alexandra Eala gave him a memory instead. In doing so, she taught a billionaire and the rest of us something we won't forget anytime soon. She taught us that some things cannot and should not be turned into commodities. She taught us that inspiration is meant to be shared, not sold. She taught us that the heart understands things the wallet never will. She taught us that being rich and being wealthy are two completely different things. So here's my question for you. If a billionaire offered you $10 million for something you owned, something meaningful but ultimately replaceable, what would you do? Take the money or follow Eala's example? Be completely honest with yourself. There's no wrong answer here. Most of us would probably grab that check, and that's totally understandable. We've got bills to pay, families to support, dreams that require funding. But looking at Eala's face, seeing that pure joy and gratitude, witnessing genuine human connection unfold in real time, maybe Eala understood something the rest of us are still learning. Maybe she grasped that the richest life isn't measured in bank statements, but in moments of meaning, in connections that matter, in knowing you made someone's world a little brighter. What would you have done in her position? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story of choosing heart over money moved you, hit that like button, subscribe for more incredible sports moments, and share this with someone who needs to remember that goodness still exists. Keep your game strong and your